full support once he apologized. He actually received more, I guess, excoriation, so to speak, because he apologized. Like he was excoriated for not apologizing by the media, by, I guess you could say, the mass media. And then by Black Twitter, he was excoriated for apologizing. He can't win. Like there's no winning in that. But the way I see it, he did what he needed to do for the sake of his family and legacy, and I support that. Like I'm out there in front. So I have
no problem. I have no problems with that. Like I say, the humanitarian thing to do is to try to move on. I just think often, and what many have problems with, is that it's always us that have to apologize, and we're held to a different standard than others. Let's just put it out there, okay? Not trying to make this totally the race debate, but let's look at it being real.
That's all true.
Because there's certain things like, did you grill down? Even to LeBron's point, even though I felt it was too late, but we'll get into that in the next segment. You know, you don't grill down on certain, like, once again, we pick and choose who we want to be the villains. And I don't think that's fair without conversation. And I think the minute, because let's be honest, Black people in America have always struggled with identity. Okay? We have various factors of groups built on ideologies and stuff built around who we are.
Yeah.
Okay? Where we are. Because if you look at what's been done in America, you know, a lot of culture, a lot of stuff, damage has been done to where we've lost a lot of stuff culturally. All right. Yeah. So when you look at that, it's like, okay, we embrace so many other cultures, but when Blacks in America embrace certain things, it's like, well, hold on. It's either, oh, this dude is out here on another planet, they're weird, or it's built on, oh, they hate. Or they hate, especially if it's one that speaks to having a specific pride in oneself. It's automatically either got to be from a place of hate, or it's got to be, oh, they're gone, they're this weirdo. And I think that's been a struggle because people don't want to take the time to have a conversation.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in America, it's like, okay, well, we're not segregated no more. All right, there's no more slavery, so let's move it. And nobody wants to speak to the effects that are still being dealt with through that. And I think this was a case of, you know, Kyrie is coming into finding an identity, and he's trying to get a message. There are ways to do it. And I think in that, you have to find your niche. You have to build your own institutions to do that. But you also have to be mindful of what comes with that, right? And I'll leave it at this. If you look at a lot of movements, like, now some have aggressive messages. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say like it's all on the media but a lot of times things are generalized. So let's look at the Hebrew Israelite movement, which this documentary comes out of a faction of that. All right. You have several movements within that. But because one group has, or one or two groups, 3 or 4 groups have more of an aggressive tone, now we generalize and say, okay, that whole group spits hatred. They do that. They've done that with Islam. They've done that with Hebrew Israelites, the Nation of it. Like, they are different factions. All right. And not all agree or have the same message in any faith walk. In Judaism, Christianity, Islam, like, they're different factions, right? But I think we often, because we get on that, you're either this or that, you got to choose this or be this on the side. In our society, we don't have those conversations to understand that. So people's identities are misunderstood.
Yeah.
Or people's journeys are misunderstood. And it just further speaks to the need to have conversation. But I'm going to leave it there because, I took a shot at your boy LeBron. I didn't know if you going to respond to that. You usually do.
No need for any of that.
See, he froze up. See, even Restream knows he was about to say some mess. Oh, okay. He's back. You back? Go ahead, back. Restream stopped you before you said some mess.
No, the reason we created this show was to kind of add the conversation that gets missed in a lot of these situations. So we want to add that concept to it. There's a lot of conversations we had behind it, but I always go back to, regardless of what your position is, how useful is the information you put out? What's the reason for the information? Is it just information to just post, or is it information to help progress? If it helps us progress, then in what way? And the need for conversation is because even when you get to the details of those factions, not everybody agrees within that particular segment of its own faction. So we have to have the conversation. I like the open dialogue and conversation in that way because I don't like to be in an echo chamber where I'm right all the time. So are you giving me information just to sound off in an echo chamber? Or can we actually utilize it for progression in any way, shape, or form? And that's not to say that that's what Kyrie Irving was doing at all, because I don't think that was it. I just think, Kyrie's a young man trying to find his way. We all been there. So it's, you know what I mean? Like for me, that was the main reason why the media should be ashamed of itself for attacking him in that way. Like I say, he's young. He's trying to find his own way. He has his own opinions. He posted something. It's not a very attractive position to be taking if you're Kyrie. But well, hell, man, the dude's 30. What are we doing here? Like he's still trying to find and forge his own path forward. So I'm not here to beat him up about that. I'm gonna say the same thing about Kanye West, because the stuff he's done can be seen as embarrassing to the Black culture, and a lot of people will take that position. But I think that Kanye, even although he's older than us, he's still trying to find his own way forward. Yeah, Kanye's a little older than us.
Hold on, Mac. He's 1 year older than us, Mac. Well, don't do that. He's 1 year older than us, Mac.
Yeah, I guess at this age. But he's still trying to find his way through. And he's dealing with some things. And I tell people this all the time: if you're surprised at anything that Kanye West says publicly, you've never listened to his albums. You've heard his albums, but you never listened to them. He tells you this is the stuff that he does in every single album he's released. Like it's not one. This is who he is. The person is in the music. That's it. I mean, you can find characteristics of that person in the art. So I get that. So I guess I said all that to say that when we look to judge celebrities, we have to try to look at the whole picture, not just half of it, not just what appeases us in that moment, but the entire picture. Kanye West is trying to say some things. He has a perspective on an industry for which he feels isn't favorable to a certain group of people. I get that. It doesn't mean that he's right at all. Like it does not mean that he's correct in anything that he's saying. What it does mean is he's trying to get that word out, and we shouldn't be spending a lot of time judging him for trying to say what it is that he's trying to say.
Agree, and just to shut it out. And it's like, the difficulty is, number one, we have so many subcultures within our culture. And what I see a problem with Black America a lot of times is we say, okay, the person with the most money and most celebrity speak for it. And then
Right.
we put so much, and then we put expectations on them, and it's just like, no, they just trying to make it and build their thing. Even if you look at the dynamics of our community, what's popular culture, you would say hip hop, fashion, whatever, it's not always Black culture. We have a culture of conservative, church going, spiritual,
Hmm.
family oriented. So we gotta stop looking at everything as being monolithic. But a lot of other groups are a little more monolithic on the forefront when you see it. But I think that's something we have to do as a community to really figure out, okay, who our leaders are, who represents us to the fullest. Because a lot of times they've been dictated by others or the media or social groups or constructs. But I think, once again, back to that point of having your own institutions allows you to be those spokespersons for the culture, or start to be those curators of culture. Because we look, it's still, when you look at a lot of the Black wealth in the country, how much it is still predicated on certain industries or certain entities to provide that. Back to your point with Kyrie, it's not independent wealth. All right,
Yeah.
it's dependent upon a franchise within an association, right? So, that's a tough thing. But back to Kanye, Ye, let me be respectful, Ye. I think for every good point he tries to make, he sends like 12 bad ones that just totally dismiss. Like, and it's tough because I think he's got a great mind. Do I
Yeah.
think he's balanced some stuff? Yeah, but I don't try to judge that. But I just think, one, like I spoke to yesterday at church service, a lot of it's about intention. And I think when you see certain actions and certain things, you start to see people's intention. And
Yeah.
I think what I struggle with him is, if you're going to label yourself the Moses of the generation, and you're trying to free people, your actions need to speak to that intent. And sometimes I see certain things that look like they're more so self-promoting intentions, or to stay self-relevant, which is fine if that's your lane. But not everybody understands it. And maybe it's not meant for everybody to understand it. But I think in certain things, you have to be a little more transparent if you do have a certain purpose that's meant for the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because who's going to catch you when you fall?
Right.
Who's going to be there? So I think that's what he's battling, amongst other things. And I ain't gonna say it's not tough being in the spotlight he's in.
Yeah. I mean, because he's in the spotlight. But here's the thing: we have a problem identifying who is more credible to listen to in these situations. So Kyrie
Dr. Umar.
Kyrie has opinions. Everybody knows him because they have his shoes, and he plays in the NBA. Keep us on the two shot. He has us in the he's in the NBA and he has a shoe. Kanye West, people know his name because he has shoes, and again, he's one of the honestly one of the greatest
Ugly shoe.
That is an ugly shoe, but he's one of the greatest artists of our generation for sure. I give him that, but not enough people within our community know the name Tamika Mallory. That's the problem I have with it. Is it's not what you listen to, is who you listen to and who you hang that message on. And if you know the name Kyrie Irving and Kanye West and don't know the name Tamika Mallory, that's where the problem lies, first and foremost, because she doesn't have celebrity skin in the game at all. There's no celebrity skin in the game for her, but she's there for a cause that crosses over the entire culture as a whole, not just a segment of it.